Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hello Word. I'm your host, Alex, and I'm thrilled to have you join me today as we delve into the fascinating world of English vocabulary. Today's word is congressional, a C1 level adjective. So, let's get started. Congressional refers to anything related to a Congress, especially the Congress of the United States, which is the legislative branch of the federal government. It's often used in the context of laws, elections, committees, and decisions made by the Congress. Think of it as the adjective form of the noun Congress. So when we talk about something being congressional, we're talking about its connection to that legislative body. Now, let's look at some synonyms. While there isn't a perfect synonym for congressional, words like legislative, parliamentary, or senatorial can sometimes be used depending on the specific context. For example, instead of saying congressional approval is needed, we could say legislative approval is needed. Similarly, if we are talking about the Senate, senatorial oversight could replace congressional oversight in certain instances. Or, if we're talking about a parliament elsewhere in the world, we could say parliamentary review is required. These alternatives convey a similar meaning, emphasizing the connection to a lawmaking body. However, it's important to remember that congressional is most specifically related to a Congress, typically the U.S. Congress. Now, let's explore some antonyms. Finding direct antonyms for congressional can be a bit tricky because it refers to a specific body. However, we can think of antonyms in terms of things that are not related to Congress. Words like executive, judicial, or presidential could be considered antonyms in the sense that they refer to different branches of government. For instance, instead of discussing a congressional investigation, we might talk about an executive order. This highlights the difference between an action taken by the legislative branch and one taken by the executive branch. Likewise, judicial review is distinct from congressional action, emphasizing the role of the courts. Another contrast could be something independent, meaning not controlled or influenced by Congress. The decision was an independent decision, not a congressional mandate. Now, let's talk about how you might encounter congressional in everyday life. You often hear about congressional hearings on the news when Congress is investigating a particular issue. You might also hear about congressional districts when discussing elections. For example, you might say, "My representative is running for re-election in our congressional district." Or, "The Congressional Budget Office released a report on the national debt." Another common usage is in phrases like congressional approval, meaning that a bill or proposal needs to be approved by Congress before it can become law. Someone might say, "The president is seeking congressional approval for his new trade agreement." Or consider this situation. The senator faced tough questions during the congressional inquiry. Another example, several representatives are pushing for congressional reform. Let's break down some more example sentences. The bill is currently under congressional review. This means that Congress is examining the bill and considering whether or not to pass it. The committee held a congressional hearing on the matter. This indicates that a committee within Congress conducted an official inquiry or investigation. Congressional leaders reached a compromise on the budget. This shows that key members of Congress from different parties agreed on a plan for government spending. The president vetoed the congressional measure. This signifies that the president rejected a law that had been passed by Congress. The study was commissioned by a Congressional Research Service. This implies that the research was conducted on behalf of Congress. The candidate received a congressional endorsement, giving his campaign a boost. The congressional record is a valuable source of historical information. Access to congressional documents is often restricted to protect national security. The senator's congressional office is located in Washington, D.C. The issue of immigration reform is a perennial subject of congressional debate. So, to recap, congressional means related to a Congress, particularly the U.S. Congress. We explored some synonyms like legislative, parliamentary, and senatorial, and contrasting terms like executive, judicial, and presidential. We also looked at how congressional is used in everyday conversations and common expressions. And remember, understanding the nuances of words like congressional can really enhance your understanding of politics, government, and current events. Thank you for joining me on Hello Word today. I hope you found this episode helpful and informative. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. Your support helps others find our show and learn more about the English language. We truly appreciate it. Now, for your challenge. I encourage you to create your own sentence using the word congressional and share it as a comment below. I can't wait to see what you come up with.